All right, good morning everybody. So my talk is about the state of tokens based on what I'm seeing in the marketplace. But what I want you to think about while I'm speaking is the following. Will the blockchain lead us to a new world that is better than the current one? That is the key question. This talk is a shorter version of a long slide presentation that I posted on SlideShare about 2 weeks ago. It has about 35,000 views so far. So you can refer to my SlideShare to see the full pitch, if you'd like. As was recently mentioned, I have something new. This week, I announced that I'm going to be moving to Switzerland to manage a new fund. Surprise, that will be focused and investing in blockchain technologies and blockchain companies. So that's what's new about me. Just by way of disclosure, I'd like to kind of briefly mention the activities that I'm involved in, because I am involved in a lot of things that have to do with the blockchain. So it's good for you to know about that, including the Token Summit, investments, being on the board of some companies, and I was very involved with Ethereum from day one, about 5 years ago. But be that as it may, what's important here is what I'm seeing in the marketplace is that entrepreneurs today are starting to rush everything. They are rushing everything as far as blockchain implementations when the blockchain is not even ready. 2 years ago, it was the opposite. The technologists were giving us promises, but the technologists delivered. Today, entrepreneurs want the blockchain to do things that we may not be able to see for maybe 10 years. What do you mean we want 10,000 transactions per second and so on? 2 weeks ago, I was in Vienna, and I kind of felt at peace there. I was talking about the blockchain, because there is a saying, it says that if the world is ever going to come to an end, they say, come to Vienna, because everything there happens 10 years later. So it's good that I was talking about the blockchain, but things that may happen later. Let me start by asking you the following question. How many of you think that tokens are a distraction to decentralization today? Distraction, 40%. How many of you think that tokens and everything we're seeing with that is a catalyst? So I think it's kind of divided 50-50. So it depends. It depends. It depends if it's tokens 1.0 or tokens 2.0. It depends what's being done with these tokens. If you're just trying to copy what we are seeing today, that is tokens 1.0. If you only use the token as a payment mechanism, that is the most unimaginative way to use a token. There is a lot more than that. So when I look at the segmentation of what's going on, there is the new and the old, and there are new companies and there are old companies doing new things or old things. So this is the 1.0 era where we want to put everything on the blockchain just because. We can sell tickets, so let's sell tickets on the blockchain. We can find jobs, let's find jobs on the blockchain. What's the novelty there? There is no novelty. Here, these are the old companies, the big companies that are going to do new things. They can be busy for the next 10 years, but they're not going to do breakthroughs. The really exciting part, that's where I'm the most excited about, is new companies doing new things. And that's really what I'm focused on. That's what gets me really excited. Then you have everything that's going on with tokens, and we have the tokens jargon. The technologists first started with this, and now the business people, the lawyers, everybody that wants to implement, they just take these words and they just use them to confuse everything, especially the regulators. They want to classify tokens. But the point of being able to classify tokens is not to regulate them, it is to better understand them. It is going to be a slippery slope to classify a token and say, this is definitely a utility, or this is definitely a security, or this is a right, this is a stake. Because the token has a life of its own. It is going to evolve. What if it starts as something and it becomes something else. So how do you define it? Don't try to define it. Let it be on its own. It's a new class. Let's accept that. And you know what the only token that matters is? At the end of the day, the only token that matters is the one that gets used. The one that has users. Real users, not speculators, right? That's what we want. Decentralization, which is the main topic, obviously, when you talk about the blockchain, is a very unusual beast. And the panel yesterday started to talk about that in terms of the compromises we have to make. Today, it is all about compromises. If you're in the idealist camp, where you want to decentralize everything, and you want to put everything on the blockchain, what happens? Accidents will happen. You cannot. We cannot do that today. Either you choke the blockchain, or you have governance models that are not solid. So what we end up doing is we have to start to compromise, and there's nothing wrong in not putting everything on the blockchain. That is part of the right architecture, design. You have to know what to put on the blockchain, what not to put on the blockchain. And the applications that are scaling today are ones that know how to find that balance. And we cannot just put everything in terms of governance on the blockchain because we're still learning. We're still in the baby stages of understanding what it means to be totally autonomous on the blockchain. What you really want to do if you want to test things out, see if you can answer this for your organization. If you're a startup trying to apply tokens, is the token doing this? Is it governing your business model? Is it really allowing every user to interact with your product? Are you sharing the rewards? Are you distributing them? See if you can fill this value proposition. Put what you are doing there and explain it on the website, in the first page, so that when somebody looks at that page, they know exactly what you're doing. And they say, oh, they're talking to me. I am that kind of person. I can see value if I use their service, if I get involved, if I buy a token, if I buy a right, and so on. A token is not a carrot. I've been saying this all along. Airdrops. How many of you have received airdrops from tokens that you don't even know about? You receive the equivalent of $2.50. A token is not a discount. It's not like a coupon for a beer to go to a bar and drink the beer. Maybe you come. Maybe you won't like the beer. Maybe you like the beer, but you don't like the bar. So you leave. So what have you done? Nothing. So be careful about using tokens as a carrot. The token must be native. Most of the companies that we look up to today, Ethereum and others are, the token is native. The company wouldn't exist, the project wouldn't exist without the token. If not, proving the token to market fit model will be difficult because today, the token to market fit is the new product to market fit. Startups iterate for 2-3 years at a time, over 4 or 5 iterations to find the right product to market fit. It is not any different with tokens. The white paper is just theory. You might say, okay, I'm going to do this. The token is going to do that. It's going to be a beautiful world in 3 months. No, it never happens that way. Even Ethereum had bumps along the road. We tend to forget that, but those that were close to it, the first 2 years were bumpy. Yes. Any startup is going to have bumpy roads. So make sure you continue to iterate on the token to market fit until you find the right one. Let me go into another phase of my presentation. What needs to work, what needs more work, and what won't work. What needs to work? These are things that we have to get right. Number one, standards and APIs. Obviously, the ERC20 is a kind of standard. And why is it important? Because standards bring adoption. It makes it easy for the developer. I've done it once, I can do it a second time. I know how to do it. I can do it 100 times. We need more APIs. The blockchain today does not have easy-to-use APIs. We have 100,000 or so blockchain developers. We need to attract the 10 million Java developers that exist out there. They don't care about the blockchain. They want an easy API that they can use and program something. We should give it to them. Scalability, there's enough people in this conference working on it. We're going to see more interoperability between blockchains, moving the state from one blockchain to another. I think this is the year where we see a lot of that. This is going to work. Native assets, creatively speaking, like the CryptoKitties, digital art, financial instruments, and also the physical, like fractionalizing ownerships of real estate, for example. Token types. I see now applications, businesses that have two token types. Token 1, token 2. Maybe one is a stable one is one that you can speculate on, and there is a linkage to it. When Steemit came along 2 years ago, they had 3 token types, and people laughed at them. They said, it's too complicated. Well, they did that for a reason. And now we're going to see 2 token types as a common thing. And we have to figure out the economic model. What needs more work? Killer features. I mean, every week I get a pitch from a blockchain that has a killer feature against Ethereum. There's maybe 15 of them. Oh, we can do this better. We can do this better. At the last AdCon, I said, what is the most important feature about Ethereum? And that was a trick question. Because the most important feature about Ethereum is not a feature. It's its ecosystem. It's everybody is here that is here and not here. The thousands of developers, the thousands of companies that are developing on Ethereum. That is not replaceable by a feature or another feature. Stable coins, that we have to get it right. I'm not sure what the right models are. There are lots of initial options we have today. On-chain governance needs more work. We cannot put governance on the chain today and assume it's going to work just like that. And we have to understand these economic models. I see spreadsheets of economic models, but it's all based on theory. What is not going to work is boil the ocean approaches. When I get pitches saying, oh, we're going to bank the 2 billion unbanked. Yes, good luck. You don't start by just attacking disruption head on. You go around, you go under, you go over, you go where nobody is. If the competition is here, go there. Start there, and then you creep up on them. These are the better pitches that I like to hear. Leading with white papers. Okay, Bitcoin started as a white paper. Ethereum started as a white paper, but they had a lot of momentum behind them right after. So a white paper on its own is not enough. A dressed-up website is not enough. Advisors that are not enough. High entry valuations. Now I'm seeing valuations, companies that maybe raised $5 million 6 months ago. Now they come up with a token model and they want $100 million with a token sale, just because the cryptocurrency prices are going up. But come on, this doesn't mean that this is reality. Eventually, we're going to get to reality. It's better to start slow, start low, and then go higher afterwards. I want to remind everybody, Ethereum raised only $18 million. And look where they are today. Start low, get higher. The multiples will be better, right? Little or no accountability to investors. We're going to talk about that in the panel this afternoon. A cool idea is not enough. So where are we today? This could be here, blockchain usage. We're all using the blockchain. But really, what we want to get to is autonomous governance. But to get there, there is a lot of steps. Yeah, some projects have their own peer-to-peer network. Then you can just use the infrastructure. You can have a token model. You start to use smart contracts. So you let the smart contracts enact the consequences. This is the beginning of being autonomous. But from there to there is a long road. But we have to get there slowly. Yeah, some of you are focused here, but me, today I'm looking here. That board is the new coin market cap. This is real activity. This is smart contracts activity. That is the real world. This is the speculative world. So my eyes are here, and in some other, there will be other ones like that. I started by asking you, can the blockchain lead us to a new world that is better than the current one? And that is really what your passion should be about. That is what your vision should be about. I want to remind everybody that the Stone Age did not end for a lack of stones, which means we're not going to just stop centralization for a lack of companies that want to be centralized and want to be controlling of everything. We have to get to decentralization just because we have to. It's the new technology that ended the Stone Age. And it's the new technology of decentralization that's going to get us there. Thank you very much.